Hello, welcome to the weekly wind-up with myself, Emma Kirke. Today I'm joined by Louise Toth. Louise has set up a business to help people with learning disabilities to read and stay in touch with the world. She's here today to tell me exactly how she has given this incredible gift to our communities.
Hi.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you. Yeah.
How did you start this idea for a business? Because it's quite unusual.
Yes, it is. I've worked for the NHS for the last 16 years. And then about 10 years ago, it's always been in learning disability services, but about 10 years ago I came across something called Easy Read, which MenCap had kind of put some guidelines down for. And it was something that really clicked with me because I was supporting people to try and access the community and finding that there were many, many barriers, and one of this is access to information.
Of course, yeah.
So I've spent 10 years writing information for people, writing general information, just making sure that people have an equitable access to information out there.
And what kind of information is it that you're providing?
It can be anything. It's any piece of information that a person needs to know or wants to know to make an informed choice about their life. It could be related to anything.
So how did you start?
Well, I worked with a person and we were just looking at diets and what was good food, what was bad food, and we couldn't get any resources to help them.
Right.
And that's where my interest really sparked in it, because the person really, really wanted to take control and was interested in the foods and what they could prepare and what they couldn't prepare.
Yeah.
But aside from being with that person all of the time to support them, there was nothing I could leave and then come away and let them practice things on their own or with a carer. And that's what really sparked my interest in it, and want to learn how to do it and help people.
So how does the material that you provide as a resource differ from material that I would perhaps get?
So if you think of standard written English, so we get a leaflet through the door.
Too many.
Yes, lots of them. Yeah. It could be a public information leaflet or something about seasonal flu. We get things every so often.
Yeah.
We'll get a picture in there that'll give us a subject, so somebody putting their hands over the nose or somebody sneezing, and then we get lots of text that we have to read to get the points out. Easy Read, I would look through that, I would pull out the key points to it, get them on a page, and then put an image that relates directly to the point.
Okay.
So that a person, if they're struggling with part of a word, can look to the image for that sentence or paragraph and pick up the topic or pick up the word. So I suppose if you think about the word chicken, if someone could get the ch part to the word and we've got a picture of a chicken next to it, we can make that link ourselves.
So there's an interpretation developing because you're putting pictorial with words.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so does that relate to newspapers, magazines, or is it just public information?
I think at the moment, people that have come to me to ask has been public information or application forms or more health and social care information. Yeah. But then I did some work with the Metro, the bus company, and they want their application form looked at in Easy Read. So I think some of it is driven by need, because there's a law now called the Accessible Information Standard, and that came into force in 2016, which means that all NHS and adult social care services need to be asking people if they need support with communication or access to communication. Or you have other companies who care and want to get things right and want to be inclusive. So that's where some of it's driven at the moment.
Could you see it branching into more like books and newspapers?
Absolutely, because
you would have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, yeah, and because what they've found, even though they put the guidelines together a long time ago, they've found on the back of it it's really useful for some people that may have a mental health problem. So people who have dementia, I'm not saying all people, but some people find the Easy Read version of something a lot easier to access than being overloaded by lots and lots of text. People who have low literacy, so people who find it difficult to read in the first place. And I think there's an assumption that the general public have got a very high reading age. And the reality of that isn't so. And if you speak to people generally, you give them an easy read version and the complicated version, people go, oh, I prefer that version already. And then they can go on to the complicated version if they feel it's something they want to know more about.
I think even in terms of speed and efficiency, you know, if you put a leaflet through my door in your easy read version, I think I'd be more likely to look at it.
Yeah. When I worked for the Trust, it was, if the Department of Health put something out or there was new guidance and there was an easy read version, many of us would read that version first, get the key points, and then go on further to read the more of the detail. But just knowing about these things and having an idea what the topic is and what's involved in it is really helpful.
Do you get funding to do this?
No.
None at all?
No. It is a really simple answer. It's
that amazes me. There's so many charities I think would benefit for giving their members and people who are using their facilities this option.
Yes, they would. And when the Accessible Information Standard came out, I was part of the workshops for that because I helped roll out the compliance where I worked. And one of the questions put to NHS England was, is there going to be any financial support? Not just in terms of easy read, because this covers other aspects. It's all accessible information. And the short answer was no, it needs to be found within budgets. But it's also part of the Equalities Act 2010. So whereas a building needs to be accessible, things that we traditionally know about, the Equalities Act also covers access to information. And organisations and businesses have to make reasonable adjustments, including access to information, so that nobody's disadvantaged. So there's two things going on at the moment, whereas before it was one and not really adhered to.
So if I was a business and I've watched this and I realise I'm not probably complying, how do I get in touch with yourself?
You can visit the website, which is www.easyreaduk.co.uk, and you'll find contact form details on there where you can get in touch. And we offer a few different services. One of them is your traditional, we will convert a document. So I'll take a standard written one and turn it into easy read, and that includes using all the images, the formatting. And very helpfully, my business partner is a graphic designer, so everything we do looks amazing, and it can sit along branded materials. You can't tell the difference until you read them, obviously, and then you can see the difference. I run training courses, so if organisations have to produce a large amount of easy read, it may be letters, appointment letters, or those types of things. I can teach people how to produce it themselves, so they're not constantly coming backwards and forwards, which can get costly. But because I've been doing it for such a long time and set up systems for organisations to have a strategy for producing easy read, I can also chat through that with people and see just what their needs are and whether there is one or whether it's something they could do themselves, because I'm very, very honest about that. It's I won't find a problem where there isn't one.
Well, that's good to know. So you basically have this amazing product that you are obviously very proud of, but it's obviously helping so many people, and yet it's something I think is still quite under the radar, I'm going to say. So funding, if anyone wants to get involved with that, I should imagine you would be quite willing and accepting.
Absolutely, yes.
But if anybody wants to help you promote what you're doing as well, I think they could get in touch in the same way.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be very happy to talk to anybody who's got an interest in easy read or now has an interest in easy read after watching this. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming and talking to me. I've learned a lot today myself.
Thank you.
It's been brilliant.
Thanks.
If you wish to contact us about this or any other topic, our details are on the screen. I'm Emma Kirke. Goodbye for now.